Welcome to Databricks News. We have a lot of exciting announcements. Lakeflow Connect, a lot of new connectors, disablement of legacy features, Lakebase improvements, job runs from notebook, flexible node types, more resources in Databricks apps, but we are starting with update from previous week, ForEatchBatch sync in Lakeflow Spark declarative pipeline. So let's look to the pipeline. We have pipeline here, and now it's possible to implement custom logic. Let's uncomment that stuff. That custom logic is executed once a new batch with records is arriving, and the most popular use case is merging this with custom logic. It's a well-known solution from structured streaming, but wasn't available so far in declarative pipelines. So let's run it. Of course, we need to remember that we'll not have this visibility, for example, on graph as for standard streaming tables, because that whole IDE, that whole like engine in pipelines don't know exactly what your logic is doing. So the thing which we will not see, for example, a table like we'll see in streaming table or materialized view. We don't see preview, but we see information that it's sync and how many records were sent to sync. Another great news is related to new connectors. So there are plenty of them. There is Postgres. It's related to Lakeflow Connect, yes? Because we need first to create connection in Unity catalog. And then we can use Lakeflow Connect to import that data incrementally. So it's really efficient because it's using change data capture or last update records. But let's see for Confluence connector. So one of 5 new connectors is Confluence. First of all, maybe that connector is not yet available in your workspace. So you need to wait a bit because it depends on the region, or you can ask Databricks through ticket or by contacting your account executive to enable that connector. And a lot of these connectors are in beta, so they are not ready for production. But let's see for Confluence one. So I defined the connection to Confluence. I had to put client ID and client secret and authenticate. And everything what is needed in that case is, for example, simple Databricks asset bundles. So we defined here source schema, source table, so it's table in Confluence, and destination table. This is creating simple pipeline to import data from Confluence. It's really working great. Let's open Confluence. Let's create in Confluence new page, and we'll see that it's important. So let's create page. So name it test2. Let's publish it because only published pages are imported. And let's back here. So once we deploy bundle, we can see that pipeline. So this is our pipeline. There is no any transformation in it, so just ingestion. I will close that. Okay, so it's running and it's trying to incrementally import new pages from Confluence. Let's wait a bit, and we can see that it's really fast. Like in a dozen of seconds, you can do whole import. You don't need to implement like in some connectors gateway. It's just importing, and look to that table pages. So we can see that test2 was imported. There is time when it was modified. And to look to metrics, and we can see in metrics, let's close that one, that only one record was important. So it's making that import incremental way. And it's really fast. Like you define connection, you define that Databricks asset bundles. There are some more options. You can look in documentation which pages to include, which exclude, and some others which are in fact universal for all connectors. So that connector, you need to define that connection Unity catalog, and then in data ingestion you don't see yet that connector in web version. But anyway, I think that defining in as a Databricks asset bundles is much better way, because it's really simple, and then you keep this as a code, yes, as a simple code how to ingest data. This is the whole code for ingestion of pages table. So instead of writing long Python script, everything what you need is just Databricks asset bundles to ingest data to your lakehouse. Yeah, I really love it. Okay, so let's go for another update. Another update is related to disablement of legacy features. This disablement is GA, so it is available in account that you can disable Hive Metastore, native Hive Metastore, and DBFS. But what is the most amazing, that all accounts, newly created accounts from now, will have only one option, disabled. So it's really end of the life of native Hive Metastore and DBFS. You need to migrate to Unity catalog and external location. And if you are new to Databricks and you register account and workspace, you will no longer see DBFS and Hive Metastore at all. So all documentation in internet or advices to use DBFS are no longer valid, and it will be not even possible for new accounts. So all new accounts have this as a disabled, and this will be the only option. Another update is related to Lakebase. In Lakebase, we have now ACL. It's really simple. And that ACL is related to project. It's not related to data itself, because data, to define access to data, you need to define Postgres roles in SQL, yes, but that project permissions are related to managing project, like settings of a SQL cluster for Lakebase, and there are just two. One is can create, so everyone unfortunately can create permission, but can manage, it's nice, yes, because only owner and workspace admin has by default can manage. You can change it. So this is the people which can change project. So for example, the number, like here, for example, the install restore time or compute defaults, how many compute units is assigned. So only the person who can manage permission can change the setting. It's good because if you create a new project, new Lakebase cluster, you can be sure that no one can change your settings. And another update is related to metrics. So now we have in a new version of Lakebase, autoscaling Lakebase, we have really beautiful metrics, and it's really easy to monitor Lakebase using that metrics. We can see the cluster usage or memory usage, error connections. So it's really good, yes. Okay, so let's jump to another update. Another update is related to scheduling of jobs from Notebook. So now if you are in Notebook, let's close it, because like this, yes. you can schedule the notebook run from here. So you can add schedule and just add job. From here, you can see also the last runs of notebooks. Unfortunately, it's not working for notebooks which are under Databricks asset bundles in bundles directory, but for all others. And I found it useful for one case, because if you have really big notebook, it's much more cheaper often to run it on job compute. And also especially if you expect that it needs a long time to execute that notebook. So now it's much more easier to execute this as a job, because everything what you need, you just click schedule, you click add schedule, and here we have run now option. And this way it's running as a job, and we can assume that that run will be cheaper and also independent on what we are doing here in the notebook. So it can be useful for some use case. Another update which I really like is flexible node type. This is the settings which we need to change in workspace, in compute. So if we go in compute, we have this option, flexible node types. Recently, there are a lot of problems with availability of some nodes in some regions, because some regions like East US or West Europe are overloaded. There are no free instances, and even if you have quota assigned, it doesn't mean that node will start. And with that setting, if we are starting, for example, node which is not possible to start, actually in that case there is just no quotas. It's trying to find another similar node to that one, and it will deploy automatically cluster with the most similar node which is available. Okay, so we choose the for ADS version 5. And in Azure, we can look what actually instance it will deploy. Okay, instance is not yet here. Maybe it's trying or checking. Okay, so it's here. And we can see that there is instance of previous generation, so not version 5, but it chose instead version 4. So it's really similar, but it's not exactly that one. And previously, that cluster would fail because there are no free instance type, and now it's trying to deploy with other ones. So I really like that setting. Okay, let's terminate it. And our another update is related, and last update is related to resources in apps. So when we have apps, so let's go to apps. And when we edit app, we can assign to that app resources. And now that list is much more longer because few new were added. There is MLOf experiment, there are vector search index, Unity catalog function, or Unity catalog connection. So we can add that resources to our app and then use Databricks SDK by using ID of these resources to manage them or do some interaction. So it's really nice that there are more and more resources assigned to apps. And that's the last update. And I really like update related to connectors. So except Confluence, which I showed you, there are 4 different ones. There are meta adds. There are 2 databases, Postgres and MySQL. So you can easily ingest data from them incrementally. And there is also Oracle suite. Thank you for watching. I hope that you like that weekly update, and see you in the next video.